what's going on YouTube? It's Donnie all day. So, here's the deal. My daughter's boyfriend, Alex, texted me yesterday or day before or whatever the hell day it was. I don't know. I don't pay attention. And he'd asked me about my tortellini soup because my tortellini soup is the bomb. And he wanted to know how to make it. So, this is what we need to do. You need to get a pot of water. Now, I took a big pot instead of a small pot because of what I have to put in it. But it's only filled to, right here. It's not filled all the way up. You don't need to go crazy on the water. But what you got to do is boil it. So, I'm going to take my water and put it on the wrong burner and then set it on a pretty high heat just to let that water heat up. Now, one of the things you're going to need is one of those like super birds from the either Costco or the supermarket, and you're going to need to take off about minimum half the chicken, and that's what I did there. So that's about half the chicken. You can take the other half and you can put it away if you want, but you want to leave all the legs, all whatever's left that somebody didn't already pick apart. You want to leave right on here, and we're going to break this up. We're going to throw this into the pot, and we're going to boil this as is. This one I've had for more than a day. It's been in the fridge, so you can see it's congealed. I want all of that congealed chicken jello to go into the pot. So what I'm going to do, and if it's got a little string on it, you don't have to worry about that because it's all coming out of the pot. But I'm leaving, like with this chicken leg, I'm leaving all of the meat, everything right on here. I'm not using this. I'm just using all of that breast and everything from the side of that bird. That's a good bird, man. And that's what I'm doing. But I want to break it apart, and I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm literally just ripping the spine out. I'm ripping the spine out so I can begin to break it up and make it a little smaller. And you can see all that good little chicken jelly that grows on there that comes up. I'm just going to break this chicken apart. Just going to use my hands. I'm going to rip it and get it into a more manageable piece of chicken so I can put it in the pot. And I want to make sure that I don't lose any of my jelly stuff. That's kind of important because it's really going to help with the broth. Now we're going to do something different with the broth. It's not just going to be water and chicken. No. I got something special. I love chicken. I got something special too. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take all this broken chicken and I'm just going to start putting it right into my water. Even though I just started the water, it's not even close to boiling. What I want is for all of this stuff to boil in. So I just want to make sure everything gets hit. Now, there's still some jelly in the pot. What I like to do is just run just a little bit of water and shake this, and it just helps get the remaining jellies. And you're thinking, okay, it's overkill. I don't really need it. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. And this is why people text me asking about my tortellini. So I'm just going to shake free all of that remaining stuff. And that's good. That's it. So now I got chicken grease and chicken jelly all over my hands. Clean that up. This is what I'm gonna need for this whole process. First, we're gonna need about a 12-ounce bag of this. This is a 1 pound bag, so it's 24 ounces. So I'm just going to use half. A lot of times you go to the grocery store and that's what you see. They sell them like this, and I just use one full thing. So I'm just going to cut that in half. You're going to need chopped broccoli. This is a steam pack, which is you throw it in the microwave and you steam it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to open it and take it out and boil it. Of broccoli, you can use spinach or broccoli. I use both. They're both phenomenal. On this one, I'm going to use chopped broccoli. You want to use chopped because you want small pieces because it has to fit in the spoon. Now, you're going to need some kind of Italian seasoning. You're going to need minced garlic. You're going to need some kind of allspice, but I didn't know I ran out because I use it a lot. So I'm just going to do a little salt and pepper mix. But if you have allspice, you can use a little allspice. I'm going to use minced onion. This is kind of an important one. It really, really helps. And the key to this whole thing is better than bouillon. Better than bouillon. I use the roasted chicken for tortellini. It's just, oh, it's the best for this kind of application. So while that boils, what I want to do is take a spoon and just kind of help it boil along. And the spoon I have, of course, that I want to use is in the sink, so I just got to rinse it off real quick. And you're going to see how easy this is. This is a crazy easy tortellini to make, but it's the best tortellini you'll ever have. And the reason I do this, and the reason I got into making tortellini soups, is because a long time ago, long time ago, it was probably not even that long ago, I went to this fancy restaurant, right? And it was an Easter type thing. And it was like a family go out and do all that jazz. And one of the starters they had was tortellini. It's my favorite soup. I'm like, hell yeah. I grew up on my nonny's tortellini. And it was just awesome, right? That's the best part about growing up Italian is you got Italians who can cook. And she used to make this amazing tortellini. It was wonderful. And they always used the actual chicken stock to make the broth. But the broth it's not as good as my broth because I got a little giddy up. That better than bouillon. That is something crazy. Now you can use like a bouillon cube, but the problem with bouillon cubes is they dissolve slowly. So sometimes they don't always dissolve and you could be eating and then get a piece of bouillon cube. And nobody likes that. But I go out and we go to this restaurant and they bring us the tortellini. What they called tortellini. I had a whole bowl of broth with 2 tortellini in it. I wanted to choke somebody. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I just ordered tortellini. I got 2 tortellini. And so I vowed from that day, I will never ever make a tortellini soup where every bite doesn't have a tortellini in it. And so that's why my tortellini is the way it is. And I do a lot of broths. I love doing broth. So you just gotta make it right. And I'm gonna show you what's going on real quick right here. See how all that chicken grease is starting to turn into chicken grease water? What's going to happen is as this water starts to boil, everything, the bone marrow, everything is going to cook into this water. And it is going to be amazing. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep randomly stirring it and really pressing it out. I'm talking skin, everything is what you want in this thing to make it right. So, I'm going to let this heat up and I'm just going to stir it a little bit. Hold on. All right, so now my water is at a soft boil. It's just starting to roll. So what I want to do is I want to take something to remove all that chicken from the broth. Now you could dump it into a strainer over another pot and just fill another pot with the broth. Or you can just scoop out whatever you want, and that's what I'm going to do. So I've got a strainer in one hand and a scoop in the other, and I want as much broth to come off of these things as possible. So I'm just going to make sure I move it around once I take a piece out and let it continue to drip in there. And I want to try and get out as much as I can that I put in there. And that means, you know, you're going to have like little scragglers, you know what I mean? But no bones or anything like that, just actual stock. So once I get that there, I'm just going to transfer it from where it whence came, and that way I can throw it away. So now comes the chicken leg, and I'm going to continue to do this until I get every part, which you don't have to watch. Hold on. All right, so I got it all out. When I was talking about scragglers, it's just little tiny pieces of chicken that flake off. But that's all the pieces right off of there. So the first thing I'm going to do before I even add my tortellini, right now, what I have is a hard boil going on just chicken water. So what that basically is, it's a broth, but it's a really muted broth. And what we want to do is we want to change it from muted to not muted. And we're going to use a bunch of this stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a big spoon and I'm going to take a nice scoop. And you can see this is like a liquid, so it dissolves way faster than a bouillon cube. I'm going to take a big scoop, I'm going to throw it in there, and I'm going to stir and just really let some of that flavor mix in. That way when I throw in my tortellini, it will immediately start to take to the flavor. And that's what I'm going to do right now. I already broke out half. And I'm not going to put the broccoli and the chicken in because the chicken A is already cooked. So I just need to basically reheat it. And the broccoli is going to cook way faster than the tortellini. So I'm going to just do that first. What I want to do next is take things that need to soften. Italian seasoning. You don't want to take like oregano and parsley and all that and get it and have it hard into your mouth. So what I'm doing, there's no science to this. There's no 1 tablespoon of this, no. It's just going to be, I'm going to throw some in until it looks like I got a bunch in there, and that's it. The only thing I'm doing a little bit of especially is the pepper. You don't want to over pepper because then it's going to be really harsh and almost like a spice. So I'm just going to do 2 little twists of pepper. I'm not going to go crazy on the salt. There's going to be so much flavor in this thing. You're really not going to need it. But I'm just going to give 3 little squirts of salt. And now with the onion, I want to throw this in kind of early because, again, this is a dried onion, so it's hard. When you throw it in there and you let it stew, man, no more hard onion. It's just perfect. So I'm just going to throw a bunch of that in there. And again, it's just all to the eye, however much you want to put. I know it looks like I'm pouring in a ton, but this stuff is, it just comes out slow. So I'm going to put a bunch of onion in there. Well, you know, screw that. I'm going to do it the old school way. And I'm going to, there we go, drop in some onion. So now just adding, the onion adds a really nice flavor to the broth. Not an onion flavor, go figure, but just a really nice flavor. So that's going to be superb. I'm going to wait before I do the garlic because it's minced garlic, so it's already soft. So I don't need to cook that. I'm going to take my spoon, just give it a little stir here. Let my tortellini start to heat and soften. Now, if you find that you have too much water or too much broth per, say, your tortellini or your stock, you can just take a spoon, like a ladle, and ladle some out. Or just cook it all the way through, and then when you serve it, you're going to scoop in there and you can serve less broth. And that's what I usually do, is I just let it sit and then just do less. So now that my tortellini has been sitting in there for a few minutes, I'm going to open the broccoli and get this ready. But first, I want to see where I'm at with my bubbly broth. And I know it's way too hot to taste, but I'm going to taste it. So if you hear me scream like a little girl, that's probably what it was. And it's still muted chicken. So I'm going to take another big scoop of this stuff and just drop it right in there. Just drop it right. Remember, you're not going to end up being shy with this. And how much of this do you put in? Well, this is why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it, because you go to taste. Once you add things like the tortellini, and then it's going to change the flavor of the broth that you had in there. Then you add a vegetable like a broccoli. It's A, frozen, and B, it's made with water. So that's going to dole out whatever you already had in there. So you're constantly going to be tinkering around with your flavors until it's just freaking perfect. And you'll know because it'll be just freaking perfect. So I'm just going to add a touch more of this right now. Just to give it a quick stir in there. And it's going to, the best part is the meat that's inside this. And you can use cheese tortellini, meat tortellini, doesn't matter. What's going to happen is it's going to cook into the inside. So the flavor is just going to be great. So now I'm going to put my broccoli in. The last thing I'm going to put in is the chicken. So there's broccoli. Now, when you initially put your tortellini in, right away you're going to be thinking, holy crap, I have way too much water. But remember, you're adding broccoli and chicken. So it's going to fill it up a little bit. Now, I had a hard boil going on, and this is exactly what I'm saying. As soon as I put it in, because it was frozen, the boil stopped. All right? Let me get a little... And you're going to constantly go back and forth with the spoon to taste. Ooh, it's getting better. It's getting better. So from this point, I got the salt, I got the pepper. I'm going to throw in some of this garlic. It's getting better. And with garlic, it's pretty much up to you. I like to use at least a tablespoon. And make sure you get some of the garlic liquid in there. If you go too crazy with the garlic, you're going to have to start all over with the chicken, with the bouillon, because now you're only going to taste garlic. So you got to be real careful, and I wouldn't go too much past a tablespoon because you don't want to just have to start over again reflavoring, and it'll just be there forever doing it. So stir that up a little bit. Now that I have the garlic in there, I know I'm going to definitely need more chicken, more chicken flavor. So let's see. And then when you add the actual chicken, more chicken flavor is going to go in, so it's good. That's getting there. That's getting there, boys and girls. I'm going to add some more bouillon. Let that sit in there and stir. It's starting to become a soup. It's starting to become a soup. Get that mixed in there. And from this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait now until I see a small boil, like a little soft boil. And once that happens, I'm going to add the chicken. And then it's going to bring the boil back down. See how that works? So it's up and down. So I'm just going to sit and let that happen. I was going to just hold off. So look at this. So I know it's kind of hard to tell because it's on that, but look at all the spices and everything. You got your chicken and your broccoli. Once that's all mixed and you got everything coming through, Madon, that's going to be so nice. So nice. All right, hold on now. All right, so I just taste tested my tortellini, the actual tortellini, and it is pretty much cooked. So I got to hurry up and get the chicken in there now. It just started to soft boil. So again, I'm going to add just a little bit of this because my broth is almost there. And with that, adding the natural chicken, it's going to help. It's going to give it a little boost. Now, remember, depending on the kind of tortellini you buy, some tortellini cooks in like 4 minutes. Most pasta takes 15. So that's the kind I'm using. But you can get pasta, like a tortellini, it's in a grocery store in a little bag in like the deli meat section, and they cook super fast. So you got to be careful. If you're using that stuff, you're going to be adding your tortellini last. All right? So make sure you know what kind of tortellini you have. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, that is some good broth. All right, so I'm going to add just a little bit of more of this, a little bit of. I'm going to stir it in, and that might be like everything I need right there. That might be the end of it all. Soon find out. I'm just going to let it really stir in, really mix, and then I'll give it one taste test and see where I'm at. And you can see, maybe, all of, well, you can't see, but all like the Italian seasoning and all that. This is what it's all about. So my daughter used to have this friend. Well, not used to, but she has a friend named Dana. And Dana was like the girl that would come over whenever I was cooking. And she'd be like the taste test girl because she had the best reactions. I remember I made a filet mignon one time and I had her taste it and she tasted and then she like didn't realize she just put something in her mouth that was gold and she just goes, It was the best freaking reaction. But I would use her all the time because she would come over and eat my food. So let's see here. This is what I'm talking about. Get a little broth in there. This is what a tortellini is supposed to look like. So to that fancy restaurant who gave me 2 tortellinis, take note. Take note. All right, ready? Watch it. Ba-boom. That right there is so nice. Lord, it is lovey-dovey. That is how we make a tortellini, but taste tests reveal it all, right? Taste tests tell it all. Now, it's way too hot to taste, but we're at 20 minutes. So I'm just going to go ahead and go for it. Get a little broccoli, a little bit of chicken, a little bit of tortellini, a little bit of broth, a little bit of burn this crap out of myself. Abra freaking cadabra. So, Alex, holy crap. That's how you make tortellini. That's how you got to do it, man. And once you do, your friends are all going to have a toss-off party in the bathroom because it's going to be that good. All right, so that's it for this one. Hi, I'm Donnie all day. Till next video.